One of the peculiarities of weather and climate here in the Northeast is that the summer solstice seems to come so darn early. On June 21st this year, we have our longest day, but even as the angle of the sun reaches its very highest point, the true weight of summer heat has not yet been felt. As the sun pauses or seems to stand still at its peak elevation, the speed of plant growth and crew activity on Astarte farm just keeps increasing, as it will for months to come. Inside the high tunnels you can see the increased plant diversity that we were aiming for after last winter's monocrop of spinach. The yellow flowers of an early arugula planting are welcoming in all sorts of beneficial insects. The heat is on now, and the tomatoes and peppers are just loving it. The CSA harvest has been going on for over a month and a half, and the U-pick options are becoming more varied. The first snap peas and strawberries are just hinting at all the wonderful things to come. The blueberry net is in place and should provide good protection for the harvest season. The shallots are standing strong in their well-mulched beds. Some of Jim's fruit trees lost all of their blossoms in a late freeze, but many of the grapes escaped that hard hit, so we may see a sweet harvest from those vines. Preparation for the winter squash and pumpkin planting is following a system that Ellen devised last year. At the beginning of a 7-year crop rotation, the soil is spaded thoroughly. Irrigation lines are laid out and carefully checked for any leaks prior to covering the ground with ground cloth. We use a combination of 4 and 6-foot wide strips pinned down with ground staples, metal T-posts, or sandbags. The only soil showing is through the planting holes. About 1/3 of those holes will get individual transplants. The rest of the holes will be direct seeded now that the ground has warmed up and the season has settled into summer. A final layer of insect barrier cloth will be applied and left in place until the flowers begin to appear and our pollinators can get down to their vital work. This is how the beds looked just prior to transplanting, and thanks to the magic of video recording, here it is after hours and hours of painstaking work by the crew. The squash plants standing straight and tall in their rows, ready to produce a wonderful harvest this fall. Down at the far end of the field, the tomatoes are well protected from any soil splashing by a heavy straw mulch, and their paths are blanketed by a thick layer of leaves that have been well aged. The stakes are all driven in place, the first pruning of suckers is underway, and the next big project will be getting the first set of strings in place. The garlic is prospering under the heavy straw mulch that was applied last fall after planting. It looks like it might be ready to harvest almost 2 weeks earlier than last year. The 3 beds that Ellen seeded with spring oats and field peas are almost ready to be rolled and crimped. That should leave a dense, nutrient-packed, grown-in-place mulch for the fall cabbage crop. Back up in the berry patch, Jim has used more of the aged, shredded leaves to prepare for the next row of raspberries. Let's finish with a shot of the strawberries that are pumping out a great harvest for our CSA members. Hooray for the taste of summer! Thanks for watching. Summer is here at last and the harvest is looking good. Questions and comments are welcome. Catch you next time.